Well, greetings world and greetings Seven Spot. It's time, it's time. It is time for another virtual and socially distant sevens. And today we've got a treat especial for you because we're going right back to jolly old England, and we have James Tolfree on the other end of the line, who I'll bring in shortly, who's got a TONIQ. And I wanted to do an interview with Colin Williams, the owner of TONIQ, and unfortunately he's not available. He's doing a lot of development work on some projects, and that's about as much of it as I know at this time. But he's going to be bringing some interesting things to us at a later time. In the meantime, we've got James on the other end of the line, and I'd like to just bring him in shortly. But a programming note. As we can see, there are a bunch of us in the shed who are building low-cost sevens of every type of description, even if they're not a seven or a seven-esque vehicle. We are planning to do a bunch of short series on people who are developing right now. So keep that in mind and put that under your pillow and dream on it because it's coming your way. So without further ado, I am going to bring in James Tolfree. James, I said good morning because it's now 9 a.m. here, and you told me off air that it's almost quarter to beer.
It's almost quarter to beer. In fact, I would say it's 3 minutes to beer. It's so we have a public holiday over here in the UK on Monday, so Sunday's a free for all. Really, it's a spare Saturday.
Wonderful. Now, I've always said that these virtual and socially distant sevens are not about me. I like to take myself out of the picture, and I'm going to turn the picture directly over to you, and you can tell us all about your now seven. Is it? We're not. I'm tongue-tied because I've always loved the TONIQ, and I think they're absolutely amazing. There's going to be some people who are going to say, well, that's not a seven. And you know what? We're all about past light things, and we've done other streams on other cars. So I'm telling everybody, put that in your pocket if that's your opinion, because this is going to be an adventure. And that's one of the things I wanted to pick up on you before we get into showing your car, is you didn't say so in your program notes or your application to do this, but I looked on your Facebook page and what I could find, because I'm that kind of guy. I like to check things out.
I knew someone was stalking me, Jim. I just didn't know it was you. That's all.
Yeah, it was me. But did you build your TONIQ?
Yes, I did. So there's a couple of questions there, really, isn't there? One is it a seven? And the answer is no. It's fundamentally not a seven. So anybody that's hoping to see a true to the original Lotus 7 replica or something of that type is going to be disappointed, frankly, Jim. But what it is, it's very much a seven in spirit. So as you say, we like fast light things, and that's what the TONIQ is. It's a very much in the original concept of a Lotus 7. It is a front engine, rear wheel drive, two-seater, light as you can get it, sports car, and so it's a seven in its heart, if not in its shell. Wonderful. So that's that. So the other thing is, did I build it? Yes, I did. I built it as a kit from TONIQ. However, TONIQ don't typically do it as a kit, except they license it to some providers, I believe, over in the US and France and elsewhere that will build it for you. But I think perhaps because of Colin Williams' experience of me building mine, he decided that he was going to build them all from there on in. So I did build it, but I got a lot of help from TONIQ. The guys at TONIQ were fantastic at supporting me, and I think this is one of the interesting things for me. I mean, building a car is so far out of my wheelhouse. It's not funny, really. So I didn't really know where I was starting from. So, and I have to say, a project like that, without the internet would have been absolutely impossible for me. So there's a great community out there on the forums. There's great community out there on the on the social media that will support you. I've met friends that have there's one friend in particular who's stood by me through thick and thin, and I met from Facebook, and he just came around and helped me get the engine out one day, and we've been friends ever since. And so I think from a what you're doing here, Jim, with the community, I think is fantastic, and it's really been helpful to me.
Wonderful.
So,
well, how about this? I'm going to take myself out of the picture now, and you can do your thing.
Shall I whiz the camera around and?
Yeah, you can whip the camera around and see how that works. We haven't even. This is the beauty of live.
All right, okay.
Live adventure.
On this app you sent me, Jim, I'm not even sure I know how to do that. If I click on camera, no, that just turns it off.
Well, how about if we do this? Why don't you rotate the camera and point it at?
Well, there is always that. Let's see if that works.
Okay, right, I'm getting out of the picture.
All right,
here we go.
All right.
It's showtime, James.
It's showtime. Now, the only problem with doing it that way is I can't quite see what's going on. But
you're going to give it one more attempt?
I'm going to try one more time. I'm sure there is a way of doing this. Camera and mic. Oh, look at that. Back camera. Done.
Oh, there we go. Look at that.
There we are. Okay. So this is the TONIQ from the front. Now, I built this about 7 years ago now. It was first registered in the UK. You got quite a complicated process of vehicle assessment to go through to get it registered and make it road legal. This is a road legal version, although I do use it on the track as well on track days. I'll give you a view from the back. There.
I love that view.
Isn't it great? Isn't it great?
Yeah.
It's that that roll bar is just so beautifully sculpted. I think.
I also love the floating wings. It's just amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, that's an important fact about this. I mean, the idea behind the TONIQ, as far as I'm concerned, was it is, as I said, a 7 at heart in terms of its design principles. The difference being, it was really when Colin started this project off, which is actually part of his, I believe, his master's degree course. It was, what him and a buddy of his did, a guy called Will did, was take the concept of the 7, but applied modern design principles and technologies to it to say, if we take the build principle of a 7, which is make it light, make it front engine, rear wheel drive, but applied the technology that we have available to us today with CAD, etc., what would we end up with? And this is really what that is. So no, it's not a 7, but it's built with the heart of a 7.
I know. I was looking at your video that I put up in advance of our show, and I could see right away that the space frame was quite a bit different.
Yeah, so the space frame is tubular. So rather than being box frame, it's tubular. So obviously, a tube is a more structurally superior concept than a box frame. So it's more rigid by out of the box. It's TIG welded. It's extremely well done. It's an extremely light and rigid chassis. The suspension all round is fully independent, fully adjustable suspension. So the rear, I can really tighten that up when I'm on the track, and soften it up if I'm on a long trip to I think the furthest I've been is Le Mans, which is about 500 miles there and 500 miles back. So that's that was quite a long haul. The engine, I suppose we should have a look at the engine if I can.
Some people will find that of interest. There's no doubt.
if you're interested in sevens and you're not interested in engines, then there's something wrong, surely.
Well, they're probably tuned out by now.
Yeah, this isn't what I was expecting. All right, I'm gonna.
You can put the camera down if that helps.
Yeah, there we go. Let's pop that there for a second.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's lovely.
Okay, just trying to negotiate wires with the hood.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so the power unit is a Duratec.
Yes.
It's got Gen V throttle bodies. It's got an uprated cam, so it's naturally aspirated. It's tuned to 217 brake horsepower at the flywheel.
Lovely.
Which is pretty good for a naturally aspirated engine without too much work done. I guess the ultimately it'd be nice to do something at the bottom end as well with forged pistons and rods and up that a bit, but it's quite enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Gearbox wise, it's actually a Mazda gearbox. It's a 6-speed gearbox out of a Mazda.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few sort of donor parts really.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes through to a diff at the back, which is a limited slip out of a Sierra Cosworth.
Okay, lovely, absolutely lovely.
Shall we see what it sounds like?
No, you don't want to do that.
No, nobody wants to do that.
I do.
All right, yeah, okay, all right, let's do that then. All right, so on the button, let's check it's not in gear.
That sounds nice. Now, I think Colin said gently in the video.
There we go. Sorry,
Very
Jim, I
nice.
can't hear you.
Oh. Lovely.
Yeah, so it's the red line's at about 7,000.
That sounds great. Fabulous.
Yeah,
What a lovely
so
little car.
it is absolutely beautiful. It's so well put together, and the details and the thoughts around it. I mean, there you can see that tubular frame, which
I think is just
makes
epic.
a world of difference.
Just epic. It's just gorgeous.
But yeah, is there any questions, Jim? Anything you'd like to ask?
Myself, I think you filled in all the blanks. I don't. I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, it's such a sexy looking little car. I don't have questions. I'm just sitting here bathing in the radiance of your car. It's just such a gorgeous, sexy little car.
It is. You know what? It doesn't have an ugly angle on it.
Not at all. I mean, it's really well thought out. And I know that you use it a lot because looking at the pictures on your Facebook page, you've even taken it camping. How you managed to do that, I don't know. Because as far as I can tell, there's no boot.
No, so this shelf here was pretty stacked up with bags and bungee cords and stuff. So that was actually a trip down to the Le Mans Classic a few years back. So that was it was a bit of a pilgrimage, really.
One epic shot of you in your sandals with one foot up in a rather heroic pose. With one foot up on one of your wings.
yeah, that's about the size. Yeah, it was very much a case of driving along and trying to avoid the clouds as as they chased you up across France. But it was all good.
Well, I do have a question. And it's not to do with the car specifically, but it's got to do with the I guess the adventure. You share a similar background to me in the sense that I don't even know what you do, but I do know that from what you just said that you didn't have the experience of building in the past. I had
No.
no experience with building it myself. I just had 2 kids who wanted to go to trade school, and I said, "Whoa, let's build a car."
Yep. Yeah.
So what was the motivation for you? That's what I want to find out.
That's a very good question. So actually, the motivation for me started probably in about 1996, and it was the first time I'd ever come across a Caterham 7.
Yes.
And a friend I worked with knew the guys at Caterham and had actually organised a day at Brooklands race circuit, and they set up a kind of track on the airfield, and almost like an auto test thing. And I just thought it was the best ththing I'd ever done with my clothes on, and so probably the best thing I've ever done, actually. But I was in love with the whole thing. The speed, the directness of the experience of driving a 7. So when I got to looking at 40 in the face, I decided it was probably about time that I did something about scratching that itch. And I had a look at Caterham, I had a look at Westfield, and in my search, I came across TONIQ, and I just loved what they had done. And I loved the fact that they had such a passion for for the experience, for the seven type experience, but wanted to put a modern twist on it, and wanted to put a different aesthetic to the concept. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go and meet these guys. So I went down to Cornwall, which is a long old way. Met with them, took the car out for a drive, and it was love at first drive.
Yeah, you just
so I
fell in
thought
love.
exactly. So I thought this is what, and also the guys are just so good. They're just such a great bunch of guys, completely supportive, not at all patronizing, really helpful, really passionate. Would do anything for you. So it was a great experience. Even when things went wrong, they went right. Because we figured them out together, and we got there. It's all part of the journey.
Wonderful. Well, you have filled in all the blanks. And
good.
What I want to say, we're 17 minutes into it, and it feels like we just started. But I do want to say thank you, because you've taken a moment of your time and to show us your shed and show us your TONIQ.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I, on behalf of us at 7 Spot, I want to thank you. But before we say goodbye, because I like to keep these things fairly short, I'm going to bring myself back into the picture. There I go. And here I am. James, thank you so much. You've made my day. You've made our day at 7 Spot. And so I want to say thank you. And I'm looking forward to perhaps getting you and Colin together, if that's appeals to you. I'll talk to Colin about it, because I think that would be, again, just excellent. And part of the reason why I wanted to find out what your experience was, this adventure, because it's not about the nuts and bolts and the carburetors and the fuel injection, the tires. It's really about the journey, and it's everybody else's story. So I want to thank you for sharing yours with us today, and to which I'm going to say thank you, and have a nice beer. I don't even...
Yeah,
do
that's
you
a good idea.
Here's a dumb question. We've all known about Lucas, the Lord of Darkness, but is Lucas the Lord of warm beer too?
Well, you see, English beer, British beer, a bitter can be served warm as well. But I kind of prefer it cold.
Lovely.
So I'll grab that one there.
Perfect.
And so we're all good.
All right. To which I'm going to say adieu and thank you again.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye for now.
All right. Cheers, Jim. Take care.
You bet. Bye.